What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the garage, and we'll see if for once we have decent audio from the get-go. Everything's kind of out of whack here, so give me a moment. I tell you what, it has been quite the afternoon, quite the week, quite the night, quite the everything. It's good to be back on a Thursday night talking to everybody. I'm telling you, this week has somewhat kicked my butt dealing with this car. But that being said, let me go ahead and say, good to hear that, Atomic Punk. I went ahead and rebooted the microphone before we even started, in the thoughts that it would probably save us some hassle. Okay, so once again, I want to thank all the new subscribers. If there's any new people to the live stream, make sure and say something in the chat room. Say, hey, I'm new. That way we can give you a good shout out. And we will give a shout out to all the new patrons. We're starting, I don't know. I know that we're probably overlapping a little bit, but we got James, Johnny, Anthony, Dwayne, Christopher, who is a regular on here, Scott, Austin, and Matt. All of you guys, thank you for your support over on the Patreon. Good to see you as a part of the family. Hope you guys have been enjoying the updates on the Project Country Club as we fight to get this thing to even crank over. It has been quite a learning curve. So, good to see you, Xavier. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the live stream. And there is the man, Dirt Floor. What is going on, Zeth? Good to see you again, brother. Once again, I gave you a shout out on the latest video, which has not came out yet, but appreciate the tools that you sent me, man. They will get used. Straight Dumb says, surprised you made it. Would still been in the garage. Listen, Straight Dumb, I was in the garage up until 5 minutes ago. Literally trying things out. As I said, I posted a video up on the Patreon probably 30 minutes, an hour ago or something, of a solid 20-second crank out of the car. Was having some issues with the CAN bus. Turned out to be that the TCM is not going to be compatible with the E67, which means we're going to have to do a transmission swap or something right off the bat. But for now, I have slaved around the TCM on the CAN bus. Everything seems to work now. All of the modules are communicating. I'm getting just a couple DTC errors from the auxiliary module. Surprisingly, one of them that's showing up is the headlight module is complaining about not seeing the TCM. Why would the headlight module care about the TCM? I guess maybe it is because whenever it's in park, but even still, I thought that was through the BCM. So, what we got? Due to deck trucks, you such in touch, Sean. Okay, I have no clue what you're saying, Adam Keys. Tom Pump says T56, baby. I don't know, man. We'll figure something out. Honestly, I'd like to just get rid of it. I wish I had the cash right now to go straight to a Power Glide setup, but they're a little pricey on the Corvettes. Kevin Garrett, when attempting to street tune a Gen 3 or 4 LS, no mod step CAI. CAI, yeah, I said that right. What's the proper method to start? Or I guess the tables. Kevin, generally on that street tune, start with the math, move on to speed density, and then do your spark. You're probably not going to pick much up on map or speed density. You're not going to see a lot of change on those. But spark is where you'll be able to pick up a little bit of power. Yeah, no, Dirt Floor got his Christmas present dirty. He can wear that in the shop all he wants. I don't care. No, Zeth, I did not have either of those tools, so those will definitely help. I'm struggling right now because I really wish that I was doing a lot of this stuff on a Gen 4 already. But there's part of it that makes me want to get into the Northstar and have some fun with Northstar, because if you look at the Northstar, whenever it's on the 4.4 liter with the supercharged, which is on the XLRV, it's about a 450 horsepower setup. But that motor, being a 4.4, is at like a 9-to-1 compression ratio. The 4.6 is at a 10.5-to-1. So if they're doing 450 on that one, we should be able to make an easy 500 on that setup. So that's actually going to be pretty impressive for that little thing. Telegrenades. Seems legit. F-150, first time here. Thanks for saying hi. Thanks for saying first time here. What's going on, Casey? Racing's asking, do you have any videos on proportional fueling? You'll have to extrapolate what you mean by proportional fueling. Are you just talking about proportional to boost racing? What's going on, Sean? Good to see you again. Yes, the S480 turbos are heavy. That's a big chunk of metal. Hey, TJ, you better not be driving. Straight dumb, yes, it is the M122 blower. It's the factory XLRV blower or the STS blower, whatever it is. So, should be the most straightforward, and in fact, exactly, suspense building tiller grenades. We should, if we want to, since we are using an XLRV tune on the ECM, we should be able to use the blower controls if we want to. I have thought about going back and just switching it over to the standard XLR tune, but honestly, I was looking at the pinouts. There's no reason to switch back to that. Thanks, 325 Sonoma. Appreciate it. Thanks for signing up for the Patreon this week. Awesome. JT, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the live stream. Nick D is dropping mid pipes and welding everything in sight. Have a feeling it caused my car to two-step at idles after attempting. Yeah, dude, you've got an exhaust leak on there somewhere. Mr. Williams, glad you found my channel. Also, welcome to the family. Start getting your feet wet with tuning. You have any questions? Just ask, man. That's what we're here for. You know, Dirtfloor, you are right. They're kind of a cool engine, and if you look at the Coyotes right now, basically the Coyotes are just Ford's variation of the Northstar. They're just a dual overhead cam V8. They're set up almost exactly the same. It's a shame. I'm hoping, but that being said, I was hoping that the Blackwing was going to get a little more traction. I don't think that it is, though. Brian says, got the AEM inline wideband setup working this weekend. My fueling was insane. The lambda reading was 2. That's full wide lean. I've been able to get down to 1.4, but it's a slow process. Can't take my rig out of the neighborhood. Gotcha. Well, do what you can do, Brian, and it's good to hear me, because you were on the dangerous line there. That's basically 2.0 is as lean as that thing will read, so it's a wonder the thing was even running. Nick, that was not fuel management. What I thought was fuel management is the dual stage exhaust controller. All of the, what is considered, there's 2 serial buses on modern GM cars. There's the high speed and the low speed. The high speed is the CAN bus. It's a 2-wire bus. Then there's a low speed bus, which is a single wire bus. That module is actually on the single wire bus. That's because it's up there with window switches and stuff like that. So, but you can't differentiate that directly from looking at the Tech 2. Whenever it does a DTC scan, it scans every module that it thinks should be on both the high-speed and the low-speed bus. And so the last time I did a DTC scan, even with the ECM DTCs disabled, I had 46 DTCs. Hey, Hillary, welcome back. Charlie, good to see you, brother. John says, I should retune my VE now that's 20 below 0 out. Or just move south. Both? Probably both. Yeah, I like to see the CT6V, but didn't they kill it already? It's not working, Nick, because I don't have that module. Hey, Paul. Good to see you. Brian, math first, usually. Math's easier, quicker. Get it out of the way, because that way speed density takes some time. Charlie's talking about the GM Joule called the Data Bus Diagnostic Tool. Go out and look at all the buses that are available from the OBD2 port and actually separate them to high speed, CAN, low. And I'm guessing that is probably nice and expensive because it's a GM tool. I have bus scanners. I've got a LIN bus scanner. I've got a CAN bus scanner. So, and it is raw data because I've done some LIN bus hacking in the past. Danny Z got his map dialed in. Rock and roll, brother. It's about time. Hey, D&Z, welcome to the live chat. What is going on? Richard Schmidt, what's up, guys? Back again. Good stuff. Good to see you again, Richard. Can't wait to start my first math log. Got to finish the wideband hookup when it stops raining. I got to do my wideband hookup. I got to get the thing running first, but then I got to do the wideband hookup. Brian, that will happen a lot, man. Don't get discouraged if you have to start over. You will not be, uh, you will not be surprised how often I have to start tunes over. You know, when in doubt, you'll get a couple steps down the way. I've gone down the road of doing like 3 or 4, days worth of tuning, and then just not been happy with the results and had to start it all back over again. So. Cool, Charlie. I appreciate it, brother. Let me know. I wouldn't mind checking it out. The Tech 2's giving me enough data to kind of see what's going on. I need to do what you were saying about checking out the starting circuits, see what's holding me up. Because the thing will fire the first time, then after that, it just doesn't want to respond. But at the same time, I don't know that the battery's just not giving me shit. Nick says, can I do STFT with 102? No, you cannot. You have to have both. Anti-Venom. Curious if you've seen Legit Streetcars Lean Burn for. Yes, I have seen it. I mean, we could go into that Anti-Venom. There's not a whole lot to it other than looking for that, what's that table called? Basically the Lean Burn table. They are focusing on a certain portion of the VE table that is, there's like 4 cells that you hit at 70 miles an hour at this RPM whenever you're on the highway, and they just lean the living crap out of those 4 cells. Because they're not any cells that you're going to hit in a transitional phase. So it's basically go out and hit highway speed, start logging at highway speed, stop logging before you leave highway speed, and just tune that area lean. JT says, had my car professionally tuned, noticed my PE throttle settings were altered. What effect is that? That just changes whenever PE comes on. What they've done is they've made PE come on earlier. That's what all professional tuners do, is they want to bring PE on at like 200 RPMs for some reason. So, there's people say that it brings on torque, and it probably does bring on torque. I think that there's some dynos charts out there that prove that getting into PE earlier provides torque, but I think that you're probably going to lose horsepower in that transitional stage from whenever torque starts to trail off and horsepower starts to pick up. I don't necessarily like getting into PE super early unless it's on a boosted platform. Mr. Williams says, here's a newbie question. I installed headers onto my 2017 Camaro SS, had it tuned, and got a check engine light. The tuner checked it, and it was a knock sensor. Of course it was. Would you be able to know if it is damaged? If the knock sensor is damaged, it wouldn't read. Knock sensors are super simple. If you're getting a read on the knock sensor, it is probably fine. But that being said, the Camaros, the 6th generation, I believe that's right, is that 6th generation, any of the Camaros since like 2012 and on have notoriously sensitive knock sensors. We've dealt with this. There's multiple people that can, talk about. Nick D says that the Major League Baseball is no longer testing for marijuana. I know a lot of people on the Pirates will be happy to hear that. What am I missing? Okay, there's some side chat going on here. Trying to keep up. Hey, MKH, welcome back, brother. Sorry I missed you last week. I guess technically you missed me, but look forward to catching up with you. Oh, man. Dirtfloor says, I've been helping a guy with the Terminator the last 2 days, only find out he has onboard map selected but plugged into a 1 bar into the intake. Just hadn't been working. There you go. Sean says, it's horribly oversensitive from the factory. Well, and that's it. The headers make it even worse. But that's what's going on, Imsup. That static knock table, which is very interesting because it's turned on the Camaros, but it's not on the L83s and L86s. Not quite sure why the Camaros and Corvettes have that, because we have disabled that on a couple of Camaros now, not seen any actual knock. And the whole purpose of that is to prevent knock, but it goes back to the mentality of like, we are doing this tuned to, it has to fit a million cars. S10 asks, what do you consider super early for PE in a 7,000 RPM engine? It's less about the RPMs S10 as it is the cylinder pressure. And so, you know, if you are a naturally aspirated, which I'm guessing that you are at 7,000 RPMs, I would start looking at, you know, probably whenever you start seeing any kind of detonation on a fairly aggressive table with low PE. And then I don't even necessarily think that I would bring PE in sooner. I would bring it on faster and maybe a little bit richer. Yeah, Williams, ask him to check out the static cylinder knock. It is a table specifically that, let me see, hold on, maybe I can just open it up. We haven't jumped over to the tune screen in a while. I don't even know if the damn thing works. Here we go, here we go. This, it might be called something different on this one. This is actually my tune out of the XLR. But over here, there's what is called static retard versus cylinder. If you open this up, there is some predetermined knock in here. And this shows up as knock. Even though it is not real knock, this is just, it is basically mimicking knock, and it causes it to actually pull timing. Yeah, disable DOD. Whoever was asking about DOD, no. There's not a way to make, the only way to make DOD work better is by turning it off. It is the biggest waste of time. But have them check this table, zero it out. This table is worthless. I'm not sure why, as I said, this, I think this table, the whole purpose of that is to do a adjustment that is something that will work for every, you know, vehicle that is in the Americans, you know, whatever, in the world probably. So it's been nothing but troubles. That table has caused multiple people nothing but troubles. Yeah, no problem, MKH. There you go. Dirt Floor's got it right. If you want to run on 4 cylinders, just get a Honda. Yeah, you know, that's the only thing that I would consider, even if you're not doing a cam, if you do a DOD delete, I would probably consider going ahead, pulling the valley cover off, plugging the holes, and replacing those lifters with the non-sprung DOD lifters. And honestly, you can do that for about $100, and you know, it takes you half a day. Dude, Zipperator. I've got a video coming out tomorrow probably with the VCX Nano. I built a bench test thing and was able to program the ECM for my car. And in fact, I was able to go back and program the one that I thought was bricked. So that one was not actually bricked. Somebody called it right on that one. Was not bricked. It was just an issue with communications on the car, which turned out to be the TCM. So the VCX Nano, I have now programmed multiple modules, both on this car and on my 2015 Silverado. So it works surprisingly well. It's a little bit hard to navigate all the BS kind of menus and stuff that's going on with it, but honestly, you know, the thing's got like bootleg software with it. So I hate to be that guy, but it is what it is. It is what it is. One Fast Daddy, I am drinking a Bywater with a lot of Tito's vodka in it. Yeah, JT, thanks for stopping by, man. Catch us next weekend if you're around, or next Thursday. Mr. Williams asked, what is goat rope? Goat rope is like herding cats. It is a cluster FU. It is a snafu. All those kind of things. Atomic, you bricked your ECU on your Nano with a, or on your Cruise with the Nano? Nice, nice, Brian. Good to hear that. Hey, I'm from Oklahoma and Texas, so it's all about the Tito's. Yes, John, it is. Well, it is a southern thing. A goat rope is. They actually have goat roping. It's like mutton busting, greased pig chasing. No, Matt, you cannot use it. You can use the VCX Nano. It's just like a Tech 2. You can use it to program a BCM, but you can't do anything outside of the abilities of what you can do on SPS and Tech 2 and stuff like that. So adding heating seats to an '08 Burb, if there is a OS that can be downloaded into that BCM that is available, you can do it. Now, that being said, it gets a little bit complicated because technically you can find the VIN number for a '08 Burb that has heated seats, and you could go to a GM service manager and give them that VIN number, and they should set up a VCI flash for you. Whether or not they're going to do that is a different question. It gets a little bit messy. Jay Sully says, I'm having problems with dynamic airflow, high RPM disabled. The engine noticeably stumbles at whatever RPM I have it set to. Your tuning's messed up, Jay Sully. Dynamic high RPM disabled. If it is set high, let me think about this. I gotta think about this because I don't want to tell you wrong. Dynamic high RPM disabled. If it is set high, you are using speed density. If it is set low, you are using MAF. One of their tunes is not, depending on if you have it set high or low. If you have it set at 9,000 RPMs or whatever, your speed density tune's wrong. If you have it set at 100 RPMs, your MAF tune is incorrect. Ah, gotcha, Atomic. Yeah, good to hear. You fixed it with the Nano. Dude, SPS is so nice now that they do that $40 VIN thing. So you spend $40, you get 2 years of access to all of the OS software for one VIN number. Okay, so my spark retard table, if you remember, showed all 3s, 4s, and 5s on cylinder 1 over 1,200 RPMs. My tuner said to leave it alone. Are you talking, MKH, are you talking about it on your... we talked about this before you came in. That's your static retard on the cylinder stuff. Zero it out. Zero that table out. Nick will tell you to zero that table out. Sean will tell you that zero that table out. Zero that table out. Yes, like Charlie said, BCMs are a one-time only program. There's not anything that you can... Well, I mean, you can still reprogram. You can still do a replacement reprogram on those. You just can't change any features on them. There's no features that you can go in there and toggle. That's the same thing. Even if you were to get wheels and tires that are different and you went to the dealership to get your wheels and tires updated, they can't do that unless there is a factory setup that has the same size wheels and tires, and then they have to use a VIN number for a vehicle that has that as an RPO spec to build out a VCI image to allow that to be downloaded in. It is one of the worst ways of doing things. What's going on, Robert? First time asking a question. Hopefully it's not the first time that you've been here, but if it is, hello. Got a Gen 3 6-liter LQ9 stock with mild cam. Runs good, but problem on cold starts. In open loop, it runs rough. Yeah, Robert, this is pretty typical. You need to go in and look at there is probably a couple tables to look at. One of them is look for a cranking VE table. You need to dial that down because you have a cam. You're not bringing as much air in on crank. And then look at your idle airflow table and dial it down a little bit. If it's a mild cam, you won't have to dial it a lot. You should be able to get it to start working right. And then once it gets out of open loop into closed loop idle, everything's fine. But that's typical kind of stuff. Just look for anything that is cranking or idle airflow related and try subtracting 10-15% from that. Check it out. Danny Z says, I asked this question before, is trying to follow your 4th gen VVE tuning video. I don't have VVE tables. Yeah, you've got VVE tables on a 15 Camaro with an E38. It's under whatever. Edit virtual volumetric efficiency, Danny. Intake gaskets. Yeah, no problem, Robert. Check back in next weekend. Let us know how it goes. And if you have any more questions, hit up the comments or check out the Patreon. You out, Fast Daddy? I'm apparently having a hard time following the conversation. I don't know what the hell is going on right now. Have I missed something? Ross Lawrence says, how does the supercharge, how does your supercharger know when to turn on and off? Well, there should be a supercharger tab, Ross. Right? I mean, honestly, Ross, I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm just diving into this. I'm going to run into this situation. Because I'm going to have to find out myself, Ross. My intention is to use the factory controls. Nick D says HP puts out a new beta like every 24 hours. The problem is they keep on cranking out these betas, but they can't crank out the pro features. It's really, really making me unhappy. I would probably be converted over to EFI Live right now if it weren't so damn expensive. They just charge an arm and a leg. There's a couple neat things that you can do with EFI Live, but man, the cost of entry is prohibitive. So... And I like the HP Tuner software. I'm just perturbed about the way that they've handled the MPVI2 upgrade. There you go. Charlie spitting some logic down there, guys. Greenplaid 72. How can I load an 03 OS onto an 05 P59 and not have to use additional credits? You can't. If you're doing an OS swap, you're going to have to change the VIN number to a 03 VIN number, and then you're going to have to register the 03 VIN number. There's nothing you can do about HP tuners because they not only go over VIN number, but they also look at like the serial number on the PCM. Danny says, HP tuners ask if you're amateur or professional. What's the difference? Amateur has about a quarter of the available tables for tuning. Professional has every table that they've unlocked available. There needs to be a common ground in between. Amateur does not quite have enough tables. Professional has way too damn many tables. Lathan, any way to disable StabiliTrak other than holding down the track control button? There's a couple guys that have created StabiliTrak defeat things, but I don't think that there is through any software stuff. There's like a hardware switch that somebody has created out there. I don't even know how it works. I think Atomic knows something about it. Maybe he'll chime in about it. Dude, John, you are 1,000% correct. And that is why they did this. John says, I doubt HPT lost that much money on the P01 hack. Not enough to justify the rush to market. Basically, what people were doing was figure out a way to VIN clone on the P01, which allowed them to do multiple tunes off of one, set of credits. And so they freaked out and rushed this thing to the market. And it's fine if you rush it to market, but where they stumbled is that they created the Pro feature set, which has the analog inputs, but all of the other features that's supposed to be part of the Pro feature set that you're paying $150 for is to be determined. We're working on it, but we have no dates for release, which is the biggest pain in the ass. Because I know a lot of people would like to have the ability to log on the device itself. Any of them says on my 5.3 Tahoe, I was thinking about swapping to a 6-liter. If I can do that, can I use the original ECM? Regardless of whether or not the ECMs are different anti-venom, you should be able, as long as things like the crank reluctor wheel are the same counts, as long as they're 58X, both of them are 58X, you can run that motor on a 5.3 ECM. So you're not doing anything crazy. So whenever you start doing crazy swaps, that you run into issues with different ECMs. So you'll be fine. Danny, you can see VVE on a stock file I got from the repository, but not the file that's on my car. Do another read and tire, Danny. Yeah, Hillary, as I said, the difference between basic and advanced is that advanced has every available parameter. Basic has a very scaled down parameter set. You're going to have to use advanced. You can't do much in the basic parameter set. There's a lot of things that you can do, but it is a lot of stuff. Like if you get into actual tuning, you need to be in the advanced parameter set. I don't know, Greenplatt. Ask that question on the forums. Make sure that there's no way that you can't get away with just doing a segment swap, which would save you the cost of having to license another VIN. That's a little bit outside of my wheelhouse. I've not gotten into a lot of segment swap stuff. If there's a way to do a segment swap, and trust me, if there is, you won't be the first one asking about it. There will be information about that. Danny Davis says, anyway, figure out how to bypass or delete tire monitors. I wish, because I've got a dead one right now, Danny Davis. I've not. At least not within my stuff. So, can't do it through, as I said, you can't do it through not EFI Live. You can't do it through HP Tuners. You can't do it through Tech 2. Can't do it through GDS2. All of those settings are tied back to probably the BCM, if I were guessing, and there's just nothing that you can change to, basically you have to probably program tire monitors and stick them in a PVC tube and air it up. Brian says, can you give more detail about the info about your Patreon levels? Yeah, Brian, we've got 3 Patreon levels. The first level is the $5 level. Just get you access to stuff that we do on the Patreon. We have some behind-the-scenes videos. We do drawings about every week. And, in fact, we're giving away the Brick DCM this week. It's a piece of history. But that is just kind of the support level. Then you get the $15 level, which is the base tuner level, which gets you access to email support on your tunes. So if you have any questions, you get a specific email where you can mail in your log and your tune, ask questions. I will get back to you, try to help you solve your issues. Then on the very, very top tier, which is the most expensive one at $75 a month, you get 1 hour a month of direct one-on-one video chat time where we talk about anything that you want. Preferably, probably tuning, but if you want to call and talk about the latest movie that you've seen for an hour, hell, you're paying for it. We can do whatever you want. So those are the 3 levels. The top tier level is limited to 10 people per month, though, so it is usually sold out. Cameron says, it's crazy how a company is upset with people hacking software when their entire business model is hacking software. Yes, Cameron, you are 1,000% correct. Yeah, I don't know. They quit doing 24 back in like 06, didn't they? 06 and before would be 24s. Not anything 24 after 06, right? Yeah, don't go above 4.06 if you still have an MPVI 1, because then they send out a new firmware that also caused all kinds of issues. Awesome, Stuart. Good to hear it. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for dropping in to say hi on the live chat. Glad to hear your 2015 Silverado is doing so much better. Nick D, I have not had a chance to look at that. Wait a second. What are you saying, Fast Daddy? Oh, that's how you do the new learn. Yes, you can do the new learn. It's about disabling it, though. SBC, we've got a guy out there right now rocking one of our limited edition hats. Exactly, as Charlie says, TPMS was federal mandate starting in, what, 2008, somewhere around there? John, I hope you win it then. Dude, did you watch Zeth? Is it good? Everybody I've heard through, thank you for the burnout, by the way. Zeth says that Ford versus Ferrari was good. I've been wanting to see it. Anybody else seen that one yet? I've heard a lot of people talking about how good it is. Yeah, One Fast Daddy. You can also get the, you can get one of the toggle things off Amazon for like $10 now. I've got one, keep it in the glove box of the Silverado. Oh man, it's getting a little warm in here. You guys just ignore me as I strip all my clothes off over here. It's not historically 100% correct, but definitely worth the watch. Good to know. Good to know. Sean says it was well done. Diehard motorsports enthusiasts could pick up on a few inaccuracies. That's everything. Very well done and very entertaining. You know, I got a buddy of mine that cracks me up every time we watch a Fast and the Furious movie. He gets pissed off about how crazy it is. And I'm like, dude, I'm the car guy here. You know, this stuff doesn't bother me. Why does everything bother you so bad? Atomic, it is not one of those streams. It's about time for a haircut. No, I ain't getting a haircut. I'm in full-blown hippie mode, man. After almost 10 years in the military, having to keep it a little bit too close to the skull. Nice. I should have gone 325 Sonoma. I thought about it last month and a half ago. And honestly, I should have just broke down, bought tickets, and went to it. You know, it's not that far away from me, being that it's in Indiana. I ain't getting no more high and tights. No worries, Nick. You don't need to do any burnouts. I appreciate the thought. You gotta get that exhaust fixed. Did you guys see the new golf tees? Danny, 14 years. It said I did about 10 in the Air Force. We've got some the long term guys on the Patreon are getting the new. Here, let me see if this. How does this work? Light. How does light work? It's so bright. There we go. New Goat Rope Garage long-term patron sticker. Going out to a couple of long-terms. I think there was 7 guys that qualified for it this month that have been a patron for 6 months, along with some of the new round tuned by me Goat Rope Garage stickers, only available to the long-terms. And then, you can't really probably see this, but we got tees that say Goat Rope Garage Project Country Club. That was my brother-in-law's idea. No, Nick D, the drawing for the ECM is going to be next week. Brian, congrats on 20 years Army, brother. Good to hear, Stuart. I've been pretty. There's probably some of you watching right now that I owe a koozie. Yeah, no problem. Venom. I love it, man. That's I've always been in electronics. I was an aircraft electrician. It just kind of followed over. So, John, you have not been a Patriot long enough, dude. Straight dumb. That's awesome. That's an awesome idea. I'll have to look into doing something like that. As I said, I was a little bit excited about getting the tees that say Goat Rope Garage Project Country Club. Something so small. Uh, Nick, I am waiting for a. He's asking about the legal battle with the county. I'm waiting to hear when the next court date is. So, I've got tons of paper, and I've got a lot of documentation over here about taxes and stuff like that. Danny Z, I worked E&E on F-16s and F-15s. So, I worked 15s up in Elmendorf, then 16s in Tulsa in the Guard. I love 15s, hated 16s. 16s are just an engine with everything, or a motor with everything jammed in around them. F-15s, you could crawl up in them and take a nap. Sean says, so is the ECM you're drawing for still work? Yeah, no, it is. I flashed it with it's got an XLR V-tune on it right now, Sean. It is good. So if you wanted to technically reflash it and use it in something that supports an E67, you could. Yeah, Mr. Williams, you can get to it by going to the website, goatropegarage.com. There's a link to the Patreon there. Yeah, I worked the 15s in Elmendorf, so we had, C's and D's up there? That's all I'm doing, Ross, there's not even a designator for the ECM that comes on my generation of Northstar. So, literally, it's a 2006. In 2006, the V's got the E67, and in 2007, the non-V's, the base XLRs got the E67. So, 325 Sonoma, you're going to have to say what you're trying to say. You're going to butt a grip of those. It's up for Ollie. I know it's up for sale, but I'm not sure what you're talking about. Yeah, have a good one, Nick D. We'll talk to you later. Anti-Venom's in airframe and power plant school at age 46. Well, you're just a young pup still. I seem to find a lot of people that have aircraft backgrounds working on cars. So it's not surprising. How close are we getting till Christmas? Weekend after, or the week after next, right? Yep, okay. So we're still going to have a show on the 19th as usual. Just want to make sure. It's the holidays. Everybody gets really busy, tied up, all that kind of stuff. We got an RC plane and an ultralight. Those are almost the same thing. I mean, in fact, Fast Daddy could probably fly John around if he felt like it. So we are starting the 12 Days of Christmas countdown right now. Oh, I'm sorry, bro. Jet fuel is the worst. It may be even worse than diesel and kerosene. I mean, technically it is just finer diesel, finer kerosene. I used to work in finished products. Hey, man, Zeth, I've worked on a compressor engine that was one of those old submarine motors, diesel submarine motors that was converted over to natural gas. Can't even remember what brand they were. You know, it's the size of Probably a full-size conversion van. See, I like that guy's name. Please like and subscribe. What's going on, Darwin? You snuck in here, man. The last 15 minutes. You dodging work right now or what? Sean says, when adding long tube headers, besides turning off your codes, what is the first thing you start looking at when tuning for them? Do you just follow regular steps? Yep. You're just opening up a little airflow, Sean. That's it. Waukesha and Caterpillar. Man, I'm trying to think. It's been over a decade since I've worked on them, Zeph. They were, we had pipeline pump stations that were running the natural gas fired, they were 6-cylinder, inline 6, big, you know, the cylinders were bigger than a basketball or whatever. The heads, we had to use a crane to get the heads off. Hey, nothing wrong with that, Darwin. Hey, Danny Z, secondary heat exchanger on the F-15. If the crew chiefs ever pissed us off, E&E, we would say that the secondary heat exchanger was cracked, because every secondary heat exchanger is cracked. Ross, I have not. Ross is asking about doing hex changes on ECM. You need to email me about that, Ross. Because if you're going to get into doing, you know, there's plenty of hex editors out there, but we need to talk about what you're trying to do. No problem, Markesh. We'll see you good, brother. Hey, Wallace, sneaking in here. Sorry that you've had a long day. It's been a long day for me also. Wayne Figueres thinks you'll do some transmission stuff. I'll do some transmission stuff one of these days. Transmission stuff is my least favorite thing to do. And is probably, if I were to say that I have a weakness in tuning, it is transmission stuff. It's just a bunch of pressures, and it's getting the pressures dialed in right. There's a lot of stuff that you can change on these TCMs that I think are probably more hindrance than help. People like to get carried away on shift time, stuff like that. They're still so mechanical, though. As I said, it's hard to say. I've been working in natural gas for 2 years now. I guess why it's superior, but man, I tell you what, I can look it up real quick because now you got me wondering. You know what? Oddly enough, I think I know what it was. Do. Just talks amongst yourself as this is terrible streaming stuff. Maybe not. Maybe not. I thought I remember what it was, but wasn't a Fairbanks. I'll have to find out and let you know. I'll have to find out and let you know. Now you got me wondering. You're right, Danny Z. They're always cracked. They would always fail an inspection. I worked a lot of phase maintenance on 15s, so it was just part of the phase cards. And we used to have pilots would come in and be like, why is this jet's not rolled out of phase already and stuff like that. And it'd be like, yo, bro, secondary heat exchanger's cracked. It's like a 2-day swap. You're right, Winnie Figgy. Let's go 4L80s. That's where I'm at now. I want to go 4L80 without the electronic controller. Yeah, Darwin, we can do E40 flex fuel. That's pretty easy. That's all right, Zeth, man. I just can't remember. These things I don't remember anymore. Time taking its toll. It's not a Fairbanks, though it looks a lot like a Fairbanks. Maybe it was a Fairbanks. I'm sitting here literally looking at a diesel submarine engine guide. This motor looks exactly like it. I mean, it has the giant boxes on the side to access the crank. Yeah. Maybe it was a Fairbanks then. Fairbanks. Adrian says, I work on helicopter components for the Army. Plating shop. I almost, after I got out of the Air Force, went to work for a helicopter company that does the AC, the environmental package for Marine One. Money wasn't there. Why not Minot? John asks if Minot, North Dakota Air Force Base is where they send the screw-ups. I've worked on jets that came from Minot, John, and it would make sense. If anybody in here is from Minot, I apologize. Ivan says, I've been struggling for months with my Gen 3, then came across your videos. Wow, man, you got great videos. Dude, awesome, Ivan. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I'm guessing you're a subscriber. Thanks for your support, all that fun stuff, man. Glad to hear it. That's why I do this, man. That is why I do this, is to hear people kicking ass, taking names. I've done component work on 130s, Kenneth. I worked back shop for a while. Darwin, what kind of car are you rocking, brother? What kind of Holden are you in? Kenneth Johnson says, I got a quick question. How do I increase boost on a factory turbo car? Look for, yeah, it's platform dependent. Atomic can probably tell you more because he has a factory turbo car. Usually it has something to do with the wastegate duty cycle, though. What's the club sport? Is that something that they brought? Is that something that they brought to America, Darwin? Probably not. I know the Monero and Commodores because I owned a Monero, the American Monero. Well, I know what HSV is, but what's club sport? What is the VZ? Yeah, Kenneth, let Atomic Punk know which one you're working on. He can probably... Oh, it's 2013 Regal GS. There you go. Fancy Commodore. Gotcha. J. Mike Hampton asks, best LS E85 injectors? Well, that is a subjective question, J. Mike. It depends. You just probably need to get the injectors that fit your flow range. That's all they are. You need to get E85 compatible injectors. Remember that you need to have flow about 30% more than standard pump gas. And just get the ones that will cover you. Ah, see, Dirt Floor's schooling me here on the Aussie Wise style with the VZ. But it is a Commodore. Fancy Commodore. Yeah, you got to talk to us Americans like we're, obtuse blocks of moronicness, because we basically are. Stick your what to the side of the fuel pump? I need to get your fuel pump shipped, by the way. Man, I tell you, it is about 1,000,000,000 degrees in here right now. And the main reason being that the heater is running for the rest of the house, which in the living room, I've got like 35-foot ceiling, so it's cold as hell in there. This office being so compact, I think I'm getting 1,000 degrees of heat coming out of the vent down here. I'm about to die. Ah, okay, Ken. I know who you are now. I know who you are. It is probably, yeah, it's probably some of the vodka. Okay, listen. It's 8:56, gentlemen. That means it's wrap-up time. Airload? Really? We need to get into some of that. I need to find somebody in the Pittsburgh area, Atomic Punk, that has one of these little turbo cars that we can play with and that won't get pissed off at me if we blow it up. Okay, here's my spill. As usual, it is the end of the night on a Thursday night. Another great Thursday night. We are kicking ass, taking names as usual. A lot of content. I've got 3 videos in the shoot right now that I've got to get done. We've got 2 videos around. One of them is building a bench harness for programming ECMs, any module for that matter, on the bench, in which we tie into it with HP tuners and show that we can talk to it with HP tuners. Smith Tuning, I probably got it, just haven't looked at it. Then on top of it, we will do another quick video after that in which we do flash the ECM with SPS on the bench. So that's 2 videos there. Then I've got another one in which we're doing the rear suspension bushings on the XLR, which is actually the same as the C6 and pretty much the same as the C5. So I know it's more of a Corvette thing, but if you're interested in seeing the frustrations that I go through, which should be a simple job, and let me tell you this, if you're doing suspension bushings, buy the kit that includes the sleeves. Don't get the one that requires you to reuse the factory sleeves. Holy pain in the ass to get all that rubber off the factory sleeves. Hindsight is 2020. I will be doing the front ones probably this weekend to get all of that slop out. And I'm sure after I'm, all is said and done, I'll be disappointed I didn't do the ball joints. Part of the reason though that I didn't do the ball joints is we will be doing a rear spindle swap to put 15-inch adaptable spindles on the back end of the car. So I should probably go ahead and do the front, but I'm cheap right now. There's a lot of parts I need to buy. We're trying to keep this within realization. Yada, yada, yada. Awesome, 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 awesome. Everybody, thank you. Exempt, you just missed it. We are right here at the end. ABT, everybody. Always be tuning. Thanks for stopping by the garage. Check out next Thursday. Check out the links in the description. Check out goatropegarage.com. Check out tuning101.com, which is the link directly to the YouTube page for Goat Rope Garage. And then check out pg4car.com, which is, I'm just dumping a ton of documentation and stuff out there. If you want to see what I am looking at day in and day out as I work on Project Country Club, all of that information gets posted up on pg4car.com. So, that being said, thank you as always, everybody. Appreciate everybody's time. Love seeing all the familiar faces. Love seeing all the new faces. Everybody have a good weekend. ABT, always be tuning. We'll talk to you soon.